In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Caran Leman fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links to the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. These are two Caran Leman fountain pens, and these are the first Caran pens I've done on this channel. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the Caran brand, and if you want to skip that, check the chapters in the description below or in the bar below. You can kind of jump ahead because this might ramble on just a little bit, so sorry in advance, but you can skip ahead. Now, Caran was founded in 1915, and their original name, I believe, was something like the Genevan Crayon or Pencil Company. Just imagine that in French. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, sorry. But in 1924, they changed it to Caran for a branding reason. Caran in Russian means pencil. Now, the brand is not Russian. Don't know why they did that. I guess it was trendy at the time, maybe. Currently, their logo is the hexagon. So you'll see on the newest version of the Leman, we have a hexagon logo here, and that's also repeated on the clip. And you'll notice there's a little dot in there. And so what that is that's about pencils. It's called pencil in Russian, and that's really what Caran is known for. It's more about artist supplies. I think they probably make the highest end colored pencil, the Luminance line. I used to have them. They're really expensive, to be honest, and they're very luxurious, very well made. They do make my favorite European wooden pencil. This is the Swiss wood, and this is like, I would consider this like a luxury writing pencil. Just the casing is really nice, and the graphite that they use, I think, really rivals some of the best from Japan. These are just really nice to use. I really love the way that they look, and it's just high quality. Pencil, hexagon shape. This is one of their older pencils. This is called the Ecuador, and I believe these were introduced maybe in the 1950s. They're quite old. I've had this one, I want to say, almost 20 years, and I have not taken great care of it, but I believe it's like brass with a rhodium or silver plating, which has kind of corroded. But I mean, you can just look, this looks like an old style pencil with the way that the clip is done, but again, hexagon shape. And this is the Ecuador. They still make this. They do a fountain pen in it, which I really wouldn't recommend because the grip section is so small, and that you have to have a cap on it. It's a little bit fatter than this, the actual body of the pen, but when you take the grip section off, just forget it. But this is the sort of the entry level point for their high writing line. They put that in French, haute écriture or something like that. Sorry for the pronunciation. And then in the middle, we have the Leman. Now, interestingly, this is their biggest pen, and this is what most of their like very expensive, high-end, limited edition pens are based off of. Now, there's another model ahead of this called the, I believe, Various. This is a very expensive hexagonal shape pen. I actually had the old version of it, which was called the hexagonal, and that pen was brass with gold plating and Chinese lacquer. I think it was like red or brown Chinese lacquer. It's a really ugly, like 1980s looking pen. The Various is more modern looking, but very thin, very expensive. I believe that Chinese lacquer pen, the current Various, is like $1,400. These are also very expensive. This Bi-color one, I believe the current price is like $800, and this is called the Le Nuit or Luit, the Night. This one is $875. And I think for the cheapest Leman, they do one in like just all matte lacquer. That's $700. And for me, there are two main issues that I had with these pens that prevented me from buying one. I've wanted one for a long time. I really like the Caran brand, but to be honest, I've never gotten on with any of their pens until these. So I had the hexagonal grip section. It's just so thin, crazy thin, not comfortable. And then they have a cheaper pen called the 849, which is really, you'll see them as ballpoints. They're pretty popular. Paul Smith, the fashion designer, does some limited editions in that 849 line. But so thin, it's so skinny. All those pens that are based off of a hexagon shape, a pencil shape, they're kind of terrible because the grip section is so small. They're made nicely, the nibs are nice, but the grip sections, they're just not comfortable. Now, one of the biggest complaints that I hear, and that actually put me off of buying these, is that the grip sections are too small. The newest ones, they're all metal, whereas this is plastic, so these are even more potentially less comfortable. So let's walk through the pen. So in terms of the shape, this is kind of a standard torpedo or cigar shape where it's the fattest in the middle and it tapers towards the end. We have a chiseled tip on the cap there. It's kind of a subtle or gentle chisel, I would say. It's not that strong. We have a Caran logo here, which is in the Caran area, shiny metal, and then it's sort of matte for the rest of it. Now, the older Caran and the first Geneva pen had a red finial, kind of like this. However, on the Leman, it was nicer in that it was like a metal in relief, and then it was filled with like a red lacquer or some kind of paint. I think that's maybe the best looking one. The newest one has that hexagon logo, which I do like the hexagon logo. You kind of have a pencil head. However, I don't really love it in the finial. It's just kind of weird to have that hexagon in a circular shape. I don't think that looks all that amazing, to be honest. In terms of the design of this pen, what do you guys think? To me, it's kind of a boring pen. It's not like a wow. I don't love it, don't hate it. It's really more about the quality, like the finish, I feel like, than the actual design of the pen. It's inoffensive. It's very sober and reserved, very maybe Swiss. Now, in terms of the clip, the clips have changed. Now, the original Geneva had the old sword clip, which kind of had like a hilt on it. This one is sort of rounded up to the top and it curves in, and there's sort of a little shield shape, and then it tapers very, very slightly towards the end here. It is spring-loaded. It feels very good quality. And let's just compare it to the current Gen 4 here. You will see that the clip on the Gen 4 is longer. We lose the shield, or maybe it's kind of into this more angled look here. I think from the side profile, I like the new one. However, in terms of the way that these pens look, I think the old one is better balanced. It appears to have a slightly higher waistline. You'll also notice that the cap is fatter on this one. Now, I don't know if that's a difference between the Bi-color and just the lacquer Le Nuit, but that's a difference that I notice. You'll also notice that the cap band has a slightly different font. It's a little bit thicker on the older one, and on the back it says Swiss made, whereas this just carries the Caran logo down there. At the end of the pen, we have these metal tips. They're the same. They look very nice. Now, taking the cap off, these are threaded caps. And on this one, we have this metal threading here, and you can see a little Caran logo there in a circle, and then it says Swiss made. So on the Bi-color ones, Swiss made is underneath the cap instead of back on the back of the finial. I think this looks better. Plastic grip section. You'll notice we also have an O-ring. There are two O-rings on this pen, or rubber gaskets, whatever you want to call them. There's another one here on the section, and this just gives you a really good seal. Now, these take standard international cartridge and converters. The converters are threaded. I don't typically use one with this pen for whatever reason. I like to travel with these because they're kind of a nice size, and they work pretty well for travel, I feel like. Grip section on this is plastic. The original Geneva had plastic threads, which I believe were prone to cracking. So if you buy one of those older ones, definitely be careful. Look at the grip section, because that has been a weak point in the past. I'm not aware of that being an issue with these pens. Now, I've also seen a pen that looks just like this with the same cap that has a metal grip section. So this is sort of maybe like an in-between. This is like a version 2.5, or I don't know, or the original version 3. It's kind of hard to keep up with the different changes, but there are at least 3 major redesigns that I'm aware of, and this would be sort of the middle one. Now, it's a thin grip section. Like I said, Caran, for whatever reason, thin grip sections. This is the thickest one that they make. And one of the complaints from a lot of the reviews that I read, which kind of really put me off of buying one of these pens, even though I wanted one for a long time, is that this is really thin. Now, I got this pen maybe a year or so ago, been using it a lot. It's really comfortable, but if you like a fat grip section or you have bigger hands, this could be a problem for you. I found it to be comfortable where I found my previous Caran pens to be really just not comfortable for me. Looking at the nib, I believe these nibs are made by Bach. If that's incorrect, please let me know. This I would say is a number 5 size nib, and it's 18 karat gold. We see at the M there for medium and 750 and 18C because this is 18 karat gold. There's a little Caran watermark on the side. And then we have this, I don't know if I want to call it Art Deco, but it's sort of stacking or rising shape towards the point of the pen. That's a nice looking nib. I like that it's wide. It does sort of complement the pen pretty nicely, I think. Plastic grip section. These are really good writers. You know, when you put ink in one of these, it writes instantly. There's no fussing with it. They do a really good job. Threading is pretty nice. It doesn't match the Cartier threading that I'm used to, and I would say some of the ST Dupont threading is a little bit better. Now let's go to the current generation. Now this one's called the De Nuit, and this has the hobnail pattern with lacquer over it, and I really like the hobnail. I kind of wanted it because I have a watch which has these Clos de Paris hobnails, which is what they call the hobnail on the Caran also. So it kind of matches that. They're little pyramids almost. And it has a lot of depth. So I really love this finish. Overall, I don't actually think it's better looking than the other pen, but that finish I think is definitely nicer. Comparing these, you know, again, even though they seem to have a similar size, this one is a little bit taller, a little bit wider, and just proportionally, I don't think it looks quite as nice. This one has a higher waistline, and I just think that looks a bit better than this one. But the finish is gorgeous here. I also do like the new clip. I wish it was a little bit shorter like this one, but it just has kind of more masculine, strong appearance to it, and it really moves quite a lot. It is spring-loaded. It's very high quality. Hexagon finial there. I feel like this is a higher end finial than on the other one, but I just don't necessarily love that hexagon shape in the circle. It feels a little weird to me. Grip section, all metal. This can get slippery, there's no question about it. We have the same nib, but a different design. We have the hexagon logo. This one's an F, but we have the same hallmark, 18 karat, 750. So all that is the same. Threading is metal, and this is, I don't really notice much of a difference in weight really, but again, we have two O-rings, and again, standard cartridge and converter. I have tried to switch these sections. They do not fit. I was hoping that I was going to be able to take the grip section off of the turquoise one and fit it onto this pen, but nope, can't do that. I should have known better. But nib design wise, I don't know if I like this one better. I'm not a huge fan of the hexagon logo. And then we just have these sort of straight lines. I think the older Caran nib maybe looked a little bit better, but they are the same nib. This one's a fine. The medium is a little bit smoother, as you would expect, but very nice performing pens. Now, coming to the price, just talk about the price a little bit. They're expensive, $875, $800, and I want to compare it to ST Dupont. Now, I don't have any ST Dupont fountain pens anymore, but I do have these ballpoints, and to me, quality-wise, I think I maybe put the edge to ST Dupont. They put their own serial number on each pen. They have, I think, nicer engraving if we just compare these two. I think it just looks more crisp, more deep. I'm looking at the ST Dupont versus the Caran there. And they use a lot more Chinese lacquer. These two pens are Chinese lacquer, whereas these are not. I believe only the Various they do in Chinese lacquer still, and probably some of their, you know, high-end limited editions they do in the Chinese lacquer. My impression is that, you know, ST Dupont, at least this is the D-line large, a little bit more premium. Now, to be fair, the retail prices on the fountain pen versions of these are a bit more expensive, but I've been seeing them in the $700 range, which is right here with these. So I think there is maybe a little bit more value here. Now, compared to like a Waterman Caran, I think these are pretty close. However, this has a much nicer finish. They do make a Caran that's very similar to this, a bicolor one like this, and honestly, I don't think that there's really a huge quality difference between that, and that's like half the price of this one. So Caran d'Ache, very expensive. One other one that I'll show you is I do have a ballpoint from them. I really like this ballpoint. Again, I like these Caran d'Ache pens for travel. This one is a nice, comfortable size. It's not too big. These ST Dupont ones are pretty big and top heavy, to be honest, so I wouldn't want to write for a long time with them, but this one's in a navy blue. They're nice. I like these pens. Now let's do some measurements. About 148, I would say, long. And then uncapped, they're about 125. And you can post these. I just wouldn't. I mean, we're looking at metal threads in there going on a high gloss lacquer. I'm not going to. They will post securely. There's no snap or anything like that, but they will post on there. I'm just not going to do that. Yeah, this is maybe 149, 148. It is a bit longer. And then uncap, about 140 or 125, 126. So roughly the same there. In terms of the grip section, this is the thing that I don't really love about these. And with the metal one, this one is slippery. I used to really be against metal grip sections. Now I'm okay with them. I actually do like this pen. I wasn't sure if this was going to work for me, and it does. So 11.5 at the widest, and then it does get a bit wider towards the very end before it flares out. So 9.3 and 9.8. So not bad. We'll check this one too just to see if there's a difference. Certainly the length of the grip section on the newer one, you'll see you do get a little bit more, I would say, room on the metal one. You just have a little bit more length here. 10.5 at the back, 8.9. So this one is a bit wider. It does have a bit more of a flare to it too, or yeah, I mean, I can feel it. There's definitely, this one, the metal one, flares out quite a bit more. So this is with a pretty full grips, pretty full cartridge. 28 at the cap, 46. And this one actually seems to be a bit less than the older one. Interesting. Would not have expected that. And 47. So they're roughly the same weight. They definitely have a premium feel. I mean, these are, again, I put these in the same class as ST Dupont, Cartier. They're that kind of pen. Very high quality, very kind of jewel-like pens. I find these very comfortable. If you have bigger hands or you really don't like metal grip sections, I mean, definitely don't get the latest one. I'm glad that I tried these because I really ended up enjoying these pens quite a lot. Let's do the writing sample. So for the writing sample, I'm going to be using a Papermind Mitsubishi Big Paper notebook. These notebooks are really good with fountain pens, and for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. All right, so we'll start with this one. This is the Caran Leman, and this is a medium, and this is Kaweco turquoise. I don't know if that's how you spell turquoise, but there you go. Really fast writing. Yeah, no issues. Very smooth, very nice writing. Medium nib. You can push on it maybe a little bit, and you do get a little bit of variation, but they're not designed for that, so do that with caution. Reverse writing. Nope, no reverse writing. So that's that one. Now the fine, I think I tend to prefer the medium. The fine is a little bit more scratchy. It's not scratchy, but it's definitely less smooth. You know, performance, I have no performance issues. That was me, not the pen. This one seems to like reverse writing a little bit better, so I don't know what that's about. This is a diamine dark green. I thought it was black, I'm not sure. It's a cartridge and they have these little stickers on the back, and I thought it looked black, but I guess it's green. So I'm not 100% sure what that is, but both are really nice writers. If I could pick, I'd take the medium. It's just a bit more smooth, but both, when you ink them, they start writing right away, and they've been very reliable for me. So what are my pros and cons for the Caran Leman fountain pen? Well, I think the biggest pro is the build quality. The finishing, especially with this hobnail pattern and lacquer, I think just looks really, really nice. It has a really nice depth to it. You know, these are kind of jewel-like pens. They're very nice writing, very smooth nibs, very reliable nibs. When you put ink in them, they start writing right away. Just has a nice quality. And overall, I would say the size of the pen is also quite nice, normal size, not too big, not too small. Now, in terms of cons, the biggest con for me is the really skinny grip section. And on this current, 4th gen model, we do have a metal versus plastic grip section. So this is slicker. So some people definitely will not like this. This is definitely a pen that you probably would like to try before you buy, unless you find one for a really good price. I've been pretty okay with it. I've been pretty happy with the comfort of this one. Now with the resin one, you don't have that problem as much, but is still on the skinnier side. And the downside with the resin one is that you have a slightly shorter grip section. Overall, I do find them comfortable, but the skinny grip section will bother some people, and I know from reading other reviews, some people really don't like it because of that. Other cons, price, they're pretty expensive. I would try to buy one used or on sale because, yeah, I think this is $800 and $875. That's a lot for this pen. You know, to me, at half of that, I think these pens make quite a bit more sense, but at full price, it's pretty tough to swallow. I think they're honestly pretty close finish-wise to like a Waterman Caran or some of their other higher-end pens that are significantly less than these. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.